Hey, it's a Humble Collector here, and today's video we're going to take a look at the 4-panel death card of Karl and Ludwig Freundorfer. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. So right off the bat, on panel 1 here, we have, I am sad now, but I will see you again, and your heart will be happy, and nobody will take this joy from you. Then moving to the interior of the card here. So across the top of the card here, under these two photographs, it says, "In never-ending love and in constant remembrance of our dear, unforgettable sons and brothers, Karl and Ludwig Freundorfer." And we'll start with Karl here. So Karl Freundorfer from Modelsbach was a Feldwebel and Zugfuhrer in an infantry regiment, bearer of the Iron Cross Second Class and the Wound Badge, and veteran of the Polish, French, and Russian campaigns, who died a heroic death for the fatherland on August 14th, 1943, at the age of 29 during the heavy fighting in the East. Now, with the ranks here, Feldwebel and Zugfuhrer. So Feldwebel would be roughly equivalent to like a sergeant in the U.S. military, and Zugfuhrer would be a platoon leader. Now, I was actually able to find Karl's casualty record. I'll go ahead and put that up on screen. So Karl was born on March 16th, 1914, and was a member of the 5th Company, Grenadier Regiment 217, part of the 57th Infantry Division. And he was killed by a headshot at Boromlja, Ukraine, near Kharkiv. And I actually have not only a death card for another member of the division, I actually have 2 other members of the division that were included in the memorial booklet for the Gustav Hofmann Shoe Company, which I did a video on previously. I'll go ahead and link that up there. We're going to start off with Johann Burns, who was an Obergefreiter in the 10th Company of Infantry Regiment 253. He was killed by a gunshot wound to the stomach at Desna, Ukraine on August 29th, 1941. Then we'll go to the death card of Aloy Pregler here, who was an Oberschütze in Company 13 of Infantry Regiment 199, which is Infantry Regiment List, which was the same unit that Hitler had served in World War I. And he was killed by shrapnel to the back of the head on October 9th, 1941 at Polova, Ukraine. And the last member of the unit I have reference to here is Werner Bever, who was a Gefreiter in the 2nd Company of Infantry Regiment 164, and he was obliterated by artillery at Voronezh on September 17th, 1942. Moving to Ludwig's side of the card here. Ludwig Freundorfer, also from Modelsbach, a Feldwebel in a Grenadier Regiment, bearer of the Iron Cross Second Class, the Eastern Front Medal, and the Crimean Cross in gold with swords. Now, that's a bit of a weird one, because as far as I can tell, there is no Crimean Cross in gold with swords. It's an award I'm not familiar with. I couldn't find anything from my research. The only thing I can think of here is maybe it's a reference to, like, the War Merit Cross with swords, because that was an award the German Army used. However, those are in, like, 1st and 2nd class variants, similar to the Iron Cross. So it's weird to me that there's, like, the gold reference there. But yeah, there's the Knight's Cross, the War Merit's Cross in gold with swords. That was implemented in late 1944, but I don't think it was ever officially on the books. And as far as I can tell, it was never actually awarded, at least from the brief research I did. So this is a bit of a mystery. Occasionally, German soldiers would be awarded medals from allied nations that they were fighting alongside on the Eastern Front. I've seen death cards with soldiers who had like the Crusade Against Communism medal from, I believe, the Romanians. So that might be something going on here. So if you know what this is, please let me know, because I'm very curious now. But moving further down, who was severely wounded in an air raid in the East on July 4th, 1944, and died a heroic death on December 6th, 1944, in the Reserve Hospital in Kreuzberg, Oberschlesien, at the age of 28. Now, I was also able to find Ludwig's casualty card. So he was a member of the 4th Company, Grenadier Regiment 437, part of the 132nd Infantry Division. His card doesn't list the exact cause of death. It simply notes he died from his wounds. And that's a pretty huge chunk of time between July and December. So I'm wondering if, he kind of just slowly faded away as a result of maybe infections or complications from that injury. Now, at the time he was wounded, I was able to figure out the 132nd Infantry Division was fighting near Dunaburg, so that's probably where this air raid occurred. And additionally, I have 2 other cards for members of the 132nd Infantry Division. We have Andreas Zettel, who is a Gefreiter in the 1st Company of Infantry Regiment 437, which would have been the same unit that Ludwig was in, and he was killed by a gut shot on the Crimean Peninsula on December 25th, 1941. And I also have a card for Berthold Heml, who was a Gefreiter in the 4th Company, which is the Heavy Machine Gun Company of Infantry Regiment 436, and he was killed by a headshot in Crimea on May 11th, 1942. So moving to panel 4 here on the back, You died so young, so early. You were missed so badly. You were so dear and good that you were not forgotten. It's over in our hearts. You'll never return home to your father's house. Our tears never awaken you. You rest in foreign soil. The hand presses on the heart, trembling. You took a lot from us, O fatherland. Until we meet again, you wrote in every letter, now it is no longer yours to rest in God's peace. You rest in strange earth, brought to rest by strange hands. Bitter, alas, is our pain, but our eyes look heavenward, where you now linger in eternal bliss, adorned with heroic crown. Let those who die for their hearth and homeland inherit the crown from the Lord as their reward. So yeah, really interesting card. Not only because we have a lot of really good information on Karl and Ludwig, but also having other cards for members of the same divisions and in some cases same regiments as them really kind of lets you look at the war history of a unit and kind of see where they were fighting. For example, going back to the cards related to Karl's division, all of those casualties are in Ukraine. So obviously his unit was fighting on the southern front for most of the war. Ludwig, meanwhile, we have two other members of this division who were killed in the Crimean Peninsula, also southern front. And of course, the Crimean Cross and gold reference there is also very, very odd and very interesting. One other, a bit more technical note on this death card is this top line here that goes across the top. You do not see very often at all. Generally, with death cards, these panels are always separate. I can probably count on one hand the number of cards I've seen that are multi-panel that have a sentence that goes across multiple panels. Very unusual. I don't know why that was the case. Probably something to do with how they set up the printing, but yeah, you very rarely see it, so I just wanted to highlight that as well. But yeah, overall, really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment down below. Love hearing from you. Thank you all for watching. Happy collecting, and I'll see y'all again very soon.